being a fan of the show from the very beginning, and actually then being on it was very surreal for me. So when I read the episode, it was like I was losing a part of myself, to be honest. And Joss has an amazing way of really making you feel everything, with even just the stage directions and everything. You knew exactly where you were at that very moment. The interesting part of the episode is we had dialogue for when Sarah comes to tell me that her mom has passed away. And it was a whole, back and forth conversation of a whole breakdown and everything. And obviously you guys know that in the end result, there was no sound. And I thought that was actually one of the most brilliant ideas you've ever had, because it allows everyone to sort of attach their own emotional plug to whatever might have happened in your lives and everything. So I think it allowed the audience to really connect with Dawn for the first time. And whatnot.
Sorry for putting you through half a day of weeping, though.
Yeah. I had the gaffers and the Dolly crew, everyone crying, so that was pretty cool. I wasn't stealing things.
Everybody was Buffy. Everybody.
Yeah. I wasn't whining, crying.
It was tough. I mean, I had a little bit more advanced knowledge of what was coming than Michelle did, and I think in your head you think it kind of prepares you to say goodbye to Christine, to know it's coming. But you have to understand that both Michelle and I come from families of single, strong mothers, where for both Michelle and I, our mothers are everything. So you try to separate as best you can, but at the same time, it adds that extra layer. And I think, particularly for me, Joss came to me early on and he said, I have this idea about the first act. He was going to play it in 4 acts, basically, all in real time. And he said, how do you feel if the first act, your act, where you find your mother, is just one shot? And I was like, what do you mean? You mean like no retakes? And he said, yeah, what if we go through, it's a handheld situation, and you find her and everything goes through. And so we basically had, your memory is better than mine, but I feel like it was a half a day to prepare for it.
Yes. And then, that was like one of the days, just that one shot.
Yeah, that one shot. Yeah, it was like a 3-minute steady cam, and it was basically everybody having to come together, Christine laying still, the sound man, everybody coming together to sort of, it felt like a live stage play. It was...
And Alan Easton on the handheld camera.
Who's never been the same, by the way, since that night. We broke him literally that night. But it was just, I think the thing for me with the show was it was always so amazing to be a part of something that was constantly breaking the rules. We were constantly doing things that had never been done, that we were constantly challenging both our audience and ourselves.
Well, part of what happened with the body came from a challenge that you threw down, inadvertently. I don't know if you know this either, Jimmy. When I made Hush, it was literally, part of it was, I'm kind of turning into a hack. I get on set, I'm going over 2 shot in the dialogue. I felt like I was starting to phone it in, not challenge myself. So I thought, okay, if I had a story I could only tell visually, that would be much harder. There was a scene with you and Tony, and you played it, and it was beautiful. And I said something, and I believe I said, I can tell exactly where the music comes in. And he said, it's not, that's not the best thing you could say to me. It feels like then I didn't give you everything you need. And I thought about it, I was like, I'm kind of using the music as a crutch. Too, in the same way, it's sort of I was like, what? And then finally, I was like, I know what I'm going for, and there's a stillness to it. And besides, I love the birds. So, the idea of not using music partially came from what I was trying to evoke, but also partially from me realizing, what? I have to take something away from myself. I have to bear myself the same way you guys have to. And I got that from you, and it was great. It was like, oh yeah, you know what? I can be better.